myself and other programs and mentors in the past, and there's nothing quite like this experience.
So I went from $0 to $230,000 in 6 short weeks.
We actually set a goal to increase our sales by $60,000 in a month, and we did that in a week and a half with the help of the university.
Don't think about it, do it, and you're gonna be blown away.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cardone Zone. This is Young Hustlers, and my name is Jarrod Glant. Every Thursday at noon East Coast Standard Time, the purpose of this show is for you to come here and get your sales game on so that you can go out and make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money, right? Yeah. Money solves a lot of problems in this world. Won't make you happy, but god damn, it'll sure buy some things that make you happy. Jet skis, right? Everybody loves jet skis. So look, topic of the show today is... Thank you, Francisco. Is things that I learned working for Grant. I'm going to give you 5 things. A lot of people ask me, they say, dude, what's it like working for Grant? What's it like being so close to him? You're so lucky, you know, you're so lucky that, you know, Grant gets to coach you and mentor you. And man, I got to tell you, it's unbelievable. But, like, I don't require a lot from Grant. You know, Grant is definitely the biggest mentor I have in my life right now. And, you know, mentors are interesting because you can pick the wrong mentors, you can outgrow mentors, mentors can give you bad information. There's just, so mentors are like, it's a very kind of like difficult concept to figure out. Because frankly, a lot of people just don't have access to mentors, right? A lot of people don't have access to people either in their area that they can get close with. And part of that is the expectation that you place on a mentor. You can be a mentor to somebody and never even talk to them. You can receive mentorship from somebody and never even talk to them. So I think a lot of people first in their mind, they have this idea that in order for somebody to mentor you, like you guys got to meet up and go out for coffee once a month and chat, right? Or have a Zoom video call once a month and talk face-to-face, one-on-one. And man, how awesome of a time that we live in where we have access to social platforms where we get, you know, access to people like Grant or, you know, I've been watching Will Smith stuff. He's awesome. You know, all these people that have such great backgrounds and experience and information and they're willing to share and they want to share it. And so, you know, one of the #1 questions I get is, you know, what have you learned from Grant? How did you become so successful working for Grant? And for those of you who don't know, when I started working for Grant, I was in debt. I wasn't ahead of the 8 ball. I was totally behind the 8 ball. And in debt, had some bad habits, and really needed to get my stuff together. And so when I started working for Grant, you know, I started watching, you know, because he was a little bit of an intimidating person to be around. He's pretty intense. And I didn't really know how to jump into the relationship. So instead of really like pouring it on and asking for a lot up front, like I just kind of sat back and I was just quiet and I just watched and I observed. And I will safely say that 99% of the mentorship that I have gotten from Grant, #1, I didn't ask for, and #2, he didn't deliver it specifically for me. Meaning I'm pulling information from other places. I'm seeing Cardone University. I'm watching how he posts content online. I'm listening to the stuff that he talks about in his videos. I mean, the majority of the mentorship that I got from Grant has come from watching him operate, the activity levels he takes, the information inside his content and his material. And so, using that information and leveraging the relationship the way that I have, it's made me a multimillionaire in a very short period of time. And I never thought that it was possible. I'm sure everybody has either been in a position in their life where they thought that it was so far away and so far off. And there are people who may be already there but are looking for the next level. Maybe you're just lost and you're just looking for that one thing. And I'll tell you first, you need to change what you're thinking about what you're looking for. Because if you're looking for somebody to hold your hand, you're not going to find it. If you're looking for somebody who's going to take time out of their day and just give you their time and energy and effort and attention, it's just not going to happen. So first thing you need to do is you need to reset how you're going to consume information. So it's great that you're listening to this podcast right now, because this is a great example of a way that you can get mentorship and you can get information and use it to further your life. So I got 5 things, 5 of the most powerful things that I learned working with Grant, working for Grant, working around Grant, seeing how he operates. And these 5 things, probably more than anything else, have changed my life. They've changed my confidence. They've changed my ability to produce income. They've changed my attitude. They've changed my commitment. They've changed my perspective. They've changed my purpose. They've really brought everything together for me, and I want to share those with you. So number one thing that I learned from Grant Cardone, my mentor. Number one thing is goals and targets. Goals and targets, without a doubt, have been one of the biggest impacts in my life, because you can't be focused if you got nothing to focus on. And so what really helped me was actually taking the time to figure out what I wanted. Like, have you done that? Have you taken the time to figure out what you want? Because what you start writing down that you want, it might surprise you when you really start giving some thought to it, because things don't make you happy. I've been thinking through this idea of success in my mind, and I want to share this with you because I think a lot of people are misguided and misdirected. You know how people say, things won't make you happy, and being able to buy things in the Lambo and the big house, all that stuff won't make you happy? It's totally true. But the problem is people position their idea of success around those things, right? And then what happens is they don't get it. And then, or they start falling into the work required to get those things, and they realize that maybe those things aren't important, and they back off entirely. I want to tell you something that has changed my world forever. Success is the work. True success is the work. It's not the reward. It's not what you get. Success is the long hours. It's the commitment. It's the sacrifice. It's the blood. It's the sweat. Fall in love with the right success. Fall in love with the work. Because Grant going on the road for 16 months before coming home, doing seminars, cold calling businesses, that is success. I always feel like when I got a lot of stuff going on and I'm pushing, I feel successful. That is what success feels like to me, is successful work. Putting in the work, putting in the time. The things and what you get are the byproducts, but oftentimes people get so focused on the things that they can't confront the work. I'll just give you a little tip. If you can possibly find it in your world, if you can trick yourself into viewing the work as true success and you start seeking that out, you will be guaranteed the things in life. Total tangent, but still very important. So number one thing I learned from Grant, goals and targets. When we get back from the break, I'll peel back another layer of that, give you the remaining 4. This is Young Hustlers.
Wealth Dynamics believes everyone has the God-given right to own their potential. Most of us don't, because we spend 40 hours per week serving the 40-year-to-life sentence, trading our precious time for worthless paper called money. We live on an economic planet, and time and money do need to be exchanged, but it doesn't need to be your time or your money. We teach our clients to secure income-producing assets that make the time and money exchange for you, so you can buy your freedom back and live a life of abundance and prosperity. To get there, we must know how to make money, how to keep it, and how to multiply it. Wealth Dynamics provides coaching, education, accountability, and community to help you build wealth. Join our coaching program, get educated on the Wealth Dynamics University, and begin networking with the Wealth Dynamics Mastermind Group today. To get started, go to wealthdynamics.com. Introducing the fastest growing e-commerce platform in fitness, gymfoodstore.com. Brought to you by Harvard-trained MD entrepreneur and specialist in rehabilitation and regenerative medicine, David Carley, along with Zoe Bedford, experience in distribution and product development. Gym Food Store is your online marketplace for nutrition and sport supplementation. We give you access to the most effective products and nutrition, all while providing expert reviews and user education. Gym Food Store is here to help you identify and validate product selection so that you are not wasting money or time on products that are simply subpar. Learn more at gymfoodstore.com. That's gymfoodstore.com right now.
Automatons, or artificial beings capable of independent thought, have been a fixture of science fiction, literature, and motion pictures throughout time.
Today, the convergence of technology and imagination has reached new heights, which are reflected in the advancements that we see in every area of our lives. Over the last couple of years, AI machines have made their way into our homes, the battlefield, our workplace, and even into our hands in the form of smartphones with voice recognition. Digital assistants for the home represent an opportunity if you know how to take advantage of them. That is where Nico's Computer Engineering comes in. Tim Clark brings you the latest news about the most up-to-date strategies to position yourself in the digital landscape, finding a path to productive business applications and how to automate them with artificial intelligence are just a few of the topics we cover in our weekly segments.
Nico's Computer Engineering is here to find a unique solution for you.
Welcome back to the Cardone Zone. This is Young Hustlers, where people with that young hustle, whether you're 20, whether you're 40, whether you're 60, dude, this is the place you come to feed the beast, feed that young hustle so that you can be long and strong in life. And today we're talking about things that I learned from Grant, my mentor. Got to be kind of close with him, had some proximity to him, saw how he works, saw how he operates. My man Johnny just dropped the bomb on me. He said, man, you know what I learned about success from mentorship from a distance from Grant? You know what I learned? He goes, dude, don't look at what people are doing now. Look at what they did to get there. Hashtag. Hey, if you got questions about what I learned from Grant, call 305-865-8668. Love to get your questions answered. Are we full up? Okay. So we're talking about 5 things I learned from Grant today. Number 1, goals and targets. Dude, you have to have a map. You have to have a plan. You got to know that when you take a step with your left foot, where's that right foot going to go? You got to know where that next step is. And without something that you're pushing for, leaning on, reaching for, then you're going to be ending up walking around in circles. I know that happened for me. When I was in my 20s, I had 0 direction other than the direction to the bar or the direction to the beach or the direction to all the distractions, right? I had direction on those things, but I didn't have direction in my life. So if you're lost, if you feel like you're kind of wandering around a little bit, dude, you need to sit down and find out what's important to you. Write down your goals and then set some targets for yourself. Goals and targets are different. Goals, big picture. Targets, what do I got to get done today? What is the target for phone calls? What is the target for deals? What is the target for emails? What is the target for whatever? Like, get some targets because it gives you something to push into. It's like running with a blindfold and taking the blindfold off, right? Complete night and day difference. Number 2, the unreasonable attitude. Unreasonable means to operate without reason or logic. This one I am terrible at this one because I'm a logical person. I have an analytical side of my brain that tends to work. But being unreasonable in the targets you set, in the expectations that you have for people, being unreasonable with what you're willing to do in order to get a deal, like developing this. And I'll tell you this, if you try, like if you decided today after the show, man, I need to be more unreasonable. I am reasonable. I use logic too much. I think for the other person too much. Like I use too much of this reasonable thing in my life. And you go out and you try to be unreasonable today, you will last for probably 30 minutes. And the reason I know that is because that's what I thought. I was like, man, I'm going to go out and try to be unreasonable. And then after like 30 minutes, I'm like, I'm out of it already. It's a muscle. Like when you look at the stuff Grant does, like everything that you look at, and I'm using Grant as my mentor example because like he's the guy that I studied singularly for the last 8 years, and I went from in debt to being worth almost $4 million. So Like, I'm just following what I know works. Y'all are free to do whatever you want, follow whoever you want, but I'm just telling you, this guy's got some good stuff, and I'm not a genius, and if it works for me, dude, if it works for Johnny, it's going to work for you too. So pay attention, all right? So unreasonable attitude, it's a muscle that needs to be built. You got to work it out. If I want big biceps, like you see Grant's guns, dude, I see what he does to get those guns. He's got these little resistance bands all over his house, little corners. I sit down on the couch, I'm like, man, what was that? Underneath the pillow, I'm pulling out these resistance bands, you know? I'm in the kitchen, I'm trying to like get some snacks. I open up the cupboard, resistance bands, because he's in there always working the guns, right? It's a muscle that's got to be worked out. So like, don't get discouraged if you set a target to become more unreasonable and it doesn't work out the first time, because it's not, or the second time or the third time. It's something you've got to commit to and then recommit to and then reinforce on a daily basis. Number 3, massive levels of action. Like, this is something that society kind of tries to educate out of you. Your parents probably try to educate out of you. Like, I look at Jake right now, my little baby boy. He's going to be a year old this month. Dude, this kid goes out in every direction all the time. So when Grant talked about his kids and massive action and the way that they're just like, give me everything, I mean, I got the example, but I get to see it now. And I'm like, dude, this kid is a freaking maniac. Like, he's, like, if he was on this table right now, within 18 seconds, he would literally have touched everything on this table and picked it up and tried to put it in his mouth. He's crazy. He's going all out in all the directions. And so, like, now that I know how valuable of a trait that is to keep, I let him go. I let him stick his fingers in the thing. I let him do everything. I let him grab everything, touch everything. I try to keep the dangerous stuff out of the way, but I just let him roll, man, because I want him to be crazy like that. Because in today's day and age, in the marketplace, the person who reaches out one time perfectly does not win. The person who reaches out 50 times, maybe like just okay, is going to win. Because there's so much noise. One of anything will do nothing. So you have to operate at levels of like massive activity. There's 4 levels, right? There's no activity, there's retreat, there's average levels of activity, and there's massive levels of activity. Grant always talks about average being dangerous, but what really resonated with me was the retreat. Like, I got enough of that massive activity left in me from when I was a kid to be able to go a little freaking crazy. Y'all at the office know how I operate. Like, I'm just all over the place, right? But it was the retreat that got me. I was like, oh man, dude, what am I pulling back from? Every time I pulled back, it was like, ding! It was like a light went off. Because I was like, man, that is me saying no to something that I probably should be doing. And most of the times, the things that you're retreating from are the things that you need to push into. Retreat typically means lack of confidence, uncertainty, lack of knowledge or skill, right? Discomfort, right? The retreat is from those things that you're not comfortable with, and that's exactly why you need to push into them, right? So for me, retreat was a big one. Number four thing. Let's go to some callers real quick. Callers are loaded up. Who do we got, Nat?
We got Ron, Nevada.
Ron from Nevada.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, welcome to Young Hustlers, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you on, man. What's your question?
All right, so my question is a good one, man. So you better prepare yourself.
I love it, man. I'm strapped down. Let me get a sip of coffee first. What's going on? Drop it.
So with where you're at right now, could you have done all you have achieved with Grant through basically living at your house and going through the internet, just learning everything through the internet? Could you have achieved everything you did with him?
Well, I'll tell you that for the first, look, like I'll just tell you what I watched from Grant. Number one, the only mentoring I had from Grant, the first 8 months that I worked there, he officed out of his house. So he had a huge, massive house, and he had a massive office in his house. So he officed out of there. He was still traveling a little bit for some seminar stuff, but he was, I saw him maybe once every 2 weeks. He didn't even know my name. I know for sure he did, because he would call me. He'd be like, what's up? He wouldn't even say, what's up, Jarrod? He'd be like, what's up? He'd be like, hey, my man, come here. Like, he wouldn't even call me by my name. So what I did study was Cardone University, like drinking from a fire hose every day. I mean, I was, if you broke it down into hours, I would probably spent 3 hours a day going through his material. Part of that was because it was what I was selling, but part of it was because I was trying to brainwash myself. Because if you can brainwash yourself with the habits and the behaviors of highly successful people, I mean, I don't think that can be a bad thing, do you?
No,
So,
not at all.
so look, it started with Cardone University. Then I started watching him, how often he posts content online. And that taught me the activity piece, the unreasonable piece. And you don't need to see him posting the video to see him posting the video. You know what I mean? So for the two things that I would say that impacted me the most was going through Cardone University probably 20 times, and then also watching his frequency of posting and the types of stuff that he does and how he shoots one video, posts it here, shares it there. I mean, that probably did more for me than anything.
With him being your mentor, because he went through some Scientology stuff, Dianetics course.
And what about it? I don't have a lot of experience with that. So 10. All right. Hey, when we get back from the break, we're gonna dig back into the 5 things I learned from Grant to get where I'm at today, and where you could do the same. This is Young Hustlers.
This will be our 3rd fund. It's a $40 million fund. So we're giving people a chance now to say, hey, I want to be involved in big, giant real estate deals that pay money. These are deals that are doing anywhere from 160 to 200% returns. You put $1 million into a deal and you're coming out with $2 to $3 million, but it's going to take 10 years. This is not get rich quick, okay? If you're taking notes, write this down. Don't do the get rich quick, man. Go for the get rich for sure. I don't need to get rich quick. I want to get rich for sure. So I'm going to go from 4,000 units. How many do you think I should go to? I'm going to go to 40,000 units. This is what I'm going to do, and this is why I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to 40,000 units, and I'm going to get the whole world involved in it. You're either going to invest with me, or you're going to actually help me raise these funds. Okay, so when you see me on social media talking about other stuff, anything that you see me talking about, what I'm doing is building an audience so I can allow people to get in a vehicle to where everybody gets rich. Because let me tell you something, if you want to make happy customers for life, make them money.
Growing your future, protecting your past. J.D. Frost & Company, PLLC, is a public accounting firm. Offers a variety of assurance and tax services to businesses and individuals in the Chattanooga and surrounding areas. We focus on construction and manufacturing industries. Our primary objective is client satisfaction through excellent customer service. Work with the best. We are accredited by the BBB. This is J.D. Frost & Company for a full suite of tax assurance and management accounting services. Visit us right now at frostcpas.com.
The more comfortable you get with yourself, the less scary it is for people to actually see you.
We all know as parents that there's nothing more powerful than a mother's love. And how can I be that extraordinary parent for my kids? And how kind we are to each other.
The more that you love you, the less you care if others love you.
The idea is to really just choose to be with yourself. The challenges and the struggles and the frustrations and the self-doubt and insecurities can often keep us from living. We can master our lives from the inside out.
Hey, so we're back. This is the Cardone Zone, and this show is Young Hustlers every Thursday, noon East Coast Standard Time. We are dropping bars. We're spitting bars. We're dropping them beats. Fresh and live from the streets. Yeah. I spit so hard, I be spitting the heat. Yeah. So this show's about money. It's about sales. It's about your life. It's about your career. It's about what you can do to get ahead in life. And so today, I'm sharing about how a lot of this stuff, really the success that I've been able to create in my life has been from mentorship. And my mentor, Grant Cardone, I've been fortunate enough to work with him. So I'm covering some of the top things today that I learned from him and I was able to apply in my life that made probably the biggest difference of any of the top items that it could possibly have been. Number one is goals and targets. Writing my goals down all the time, setting very specific targets, things that are measurable, things that give me something to push for, work for. If you're like a more of an analytical, logic-based person, goals will allow you to targets will actually allow you to back into the amount of work that you need to do. So if you've never heard of the concept that Grant's talked about millionaire math, like if you want to become a millionaire, there's a way to do it. Like there's actually a way to do it, but you just need to figure out how many times you need to swing the axe at the tree before it falls down. So some people work longer days, some people swing the axe faster. There's a lot of variables that come into play, but if you could stand up and know that it's going to take 1,000 swings of the axe to cut the tree down, then you could basically modify how long you were spending swinging the axe or how fast you swung it to try to increase the reps to make the tree go down faster. Same exact thing applies with sales and producing income. If you know how many customers you need to talk to, how much money you make per deal, how many phone calls you got to make to get an appointment, to do a demo, to show a deal, if you can figure all the math out, you can actually come in and go, hey, I need to do 187 calls today. Right? And then you could focus on improving and getting better on the call. But goals and targets, primary, massive, first thing, connection to the purpose, connection to vision of what you need to get done, and really allows you to run instead of walk or crawl. Number 2, unreasonable attitude. This is, Grant has got this grooved in, years of muscle, building it in. Unreasonable with your follow-up, unreasonable with your phone calls, unreasonable with your expectations of what you're capable of, like unreasonable about everything in life. Because logic is a dream killer. Logic will kill your dreams, it will keep you small, and it will prevent you from experiencing the true potential that you have. Number 3, massive levels of action. There's 4 levels of action. You have no action, you have retreat, you have average levels of action, and massive levels of action. The average is what Grant identifies as the most dangerous level because you're doing something, but in fact, the thing that you're doing will keep you forever trapped because you're not doing enough of it in order to actually break you out. So you get stuck in this agreement of, well, I'm doing something. I showed up to work today. I'm going to become a millionaire. Wrong, right? That's the wrong thing. But people think, hey, I showed up to work. I did the 9-to-5 thing. I invested in the 401k. I'm going to be a millionaire. Maybe when you're 70. But if I'm going to be a millionaire, I want it to happen fast. And so I'm willing to compress time in order to make it happen. And so in order to do that, you need to really up your levels of activity, like to compress time, right? If you want to eliminate time, you have to increase activity. So massive levels of action. Number 4, this is a huge one. Act first and then plan. Most people plan and then act. What happens is they get stuck in the planning thing and they never take action. At least if you act first, you take some type of action or movement in a forward direction, you can initiate the cycle of movement, right? Natalie likes that. She likes that. So you can initiate the cycle of action. So don't get caught in the planning stages. Like this is, again, a logical, if you're logical, you're going to slide towards this. You're going to slant towards wanting to plan everything out. And you know, look, you got to be willing to deal with one or the 2 problems, because if you plan first, you're going to have problems with that. If you act first, you're going to have problems with that. What you need to decide is which problems are you going to be okay with. Let's take the first one. If you plan first, okay, the problem that you're going to have is you never get out of planning, okay? That's your problem. Okay, let's take the act first mode, okay? What's the problem you're going to have with that? You move forward, you take action on something, you move forward on something, and you learn that you did the wrong thing. Which would you rather do? Would you rather move forward and be like, oh, that was the wrong thing, come back, reset, try again? Or would you rather get stuck in planning and never actually take an action? Which one would you rather, right? Now, these are like the things that you have to think with. These are very fundamental. I didn't know that, though, because I had to learn from somebody who had been there before, who had done it before, somebody who already had it grooved in, somebody who was already winning. Can you go find out if Matt has that thing ready? So you got to have somebody you can learn this stuff from. I mean, I hope I can, you know, use this show as a way to give you some of these pieces of information, but you need accountability. You need somebody to support you in all this. You need a group. You need a community of people, right? Like I know for sure that the group that we have here, the office, like most of them are on the same page. Like they all want to do something big. We think in terms of abundance, not scarcity, right? Like, I've surrounded myself in this company by being employed here. I've surrounded myself in a great environment. Now, I could have made a choice to go work somewhere else and been surrounded by a different group of people, and I would have had to deal with all the problems of that. Yeah. So, like, what I got to tell you is if you're in a situation where you don't have that support, we can be that support for you, right? And actually, Grant wants to help you. Like, Grant wants to help you become a millionaire. Like, if you're watching this right now and you're not a millionaire and you want to be a millionaire, pay attention, okay? Grant is going to teach you exactly how to do it. He's going to walk you step by step through how he did it. He's basically going to go and line out everything you need to do. He's going to lay the framework for you, all right? He's going to do that for you, and if you want access to it, all you have to do is go to grantcardone.com/millions. grantcardone.com/millions. He's going to do a live training on it. Million. grantcardone.com/million. There's no S. Make him do it both ways, Natalie. Both ways. Yeah, go tell him. So grantcardone.com/million, grantcardone.com/millions. You can sign up, you can register there. This is going to be a live training. When Grant goes live, he does these live things. He doesn't do it very often, but he goes through and he kind of systematically goes through steps that you can take away in order to advance yourself. So money is an important thing for me. It's not the most important thing, but it will help me fund the things that I hold valuable to me, like time with my family, like not having to worry about economic cycles or pullbacks, not having to worry about unexpected expenses or costs that come up, being able to do fun things and have experiences in life. Like, yeah, do I want to have a Lambo? I don't know. It might be cool to drive one for a few weeks, but like, it's not important to me. Like, I want the big picture things, right? And so you need to have money in order to do that. And so Grant, he did on Instagram. He was asking people, hey, ask me anything. If I was your mentor, what would you want to know? And the number one question we got was, how do I become a millionaire? So Grant's going to do it. This is going to be live. You can register for it. There's only going to be a limited amount of people that we're going to be able to hold because of the technology that we're using. I think it's maybe 1,000 people that will be able to get on the deal unless they figure something else out, but that was the number that I heard. It's going to fill up fast. It will not be replayed. You must watch it live if you want to get access to it. If you go to grantcardone.com/million or /millions, you'll be able to get registered for the live training. And you're going to be able to go over some of these things in more detail that I'm covering right now. So number 1, goals and targets. Number 2, unreasonable attitude. Number 3, massive levels of action. Number 4, act first, then plan. I'd rather deal with the problems of taking the wrong action than get stuck with the problems of planning and never acting. And the 5th and final thing that I learned from Grant, thing that has contributed to the most to my success is that when you're training and when you're learning and when you're studying things, you need to have intention with it. You need to have intention with what you're going to do with that data, right? When you train for improvement, train to raise the bar. If you're learning things and you're consuming concepts and you're not able to translate them, and then that isn't able to impact your production, then you haven't learned it yet. Don't move on. Don't discount what you just learned. Keep reinforcing it back over and over and over again. So the 5th thing that I learned from Grant that had the biggest impact was train for improvement, not for activity. Like, don't go to the gym just to move around. Go to the gym with purpose and intention. I'm going to work my back today. I'm going to work my chest today. I'm going to work my biceps today. I'm going to work my legs today. Right. When I go through and I'm going through Cardone University and I'm learning a concept, I'm like, how am I going to use this on a call? And then I practice it on a call, right? And like, don't get so hung up in like mishandling one call. It was something I struggled with in the beginning when I was trying to learn these things. I was so afraid to try a new thing on a call because I was afraid I was going to lose the call, that I wasn't improving because I wasn't actually trying to implement the things that I was learning. So what I'll tell you is this. When you start becoming serious about training for your career, when you're training on skills that will help you produce money, not college stuff, not book stuff, but like actually tactical things like what you'll learn in Cardone University or what Grant's going to talk about in the live training on how you can become a millionaire, which you can register for at grantcardone.com/millions. Like what you're going to learn is that you have to be okay for a period of time of maybe taking a step back or confronting ego and just getting crushed on for a while by the marketplace while you're trying to figure these things out. It's like you can operate at levels like this and do the wrong things. And you know that if you were doing all the right things, you could operate at this level. But in order to clear the gap between the two, you might actually have to go down first. I'll use another example, like with golf. So you go, like I'm playing a lot of golf these days. I love golf. It's one of my favorite things to do, one of the only things that I do. And when I go to the golf course, I have a swing and we're playing golf, and it's not great right now. It's not what it used to be. I could definitely improve. So I want to go take a lesson. So I go and take a lesson and they start adding things in. So I'm trying to like work on all these different things. My game gets worse because I'm trying to groove in new concepts or new elements to the swing, or I'm trying to groove something new in. And so there's a little bit of a pullback, right? But then once those things start taking shape and I start getting comfortable with them and I start actually using them and they start improving and they're working, then what happens is I go from here to here, right? And then you might have a little pullback and then you'll improve again and there'll be another leap. A lot of people aren't willing to go through that cycle of trying to groove in a new thing and deal with like the rejection or the emotion or the pullback. And it's part of the learning experience. It's part of the process. But you have to train for improvement. You have to train and learn things that will make you better. If you've been listening to this show or you've been going through Cardone University and you're not improving, get on the weekly mastermind that we have. Call into the office and ask for help with Cardone University. Like these tools are guaranteed to increase your income. They're guaranteed to improve your performance. If you use Cardone University, you are guaranteed to do better. So if you're not doing better, then you need to raise your hand and be like, hey, something's wrong here because it's not improving. It's not working for me. If it ain't working for you, then something is off. And it's not the material, because it's the same material that I use or that Johnny uses, that everybody in our office uses, thousands of our successful clients use. So if you're not seeing an uptick, then it's because something is out. And we can help you fix that, right? So look, these are 5 things: goals and targets, unreasonable attitude, massive action, the act, then plan, act first, then plan philosophy, and then training for improvement, not just for activity. Those are 5 top things I learned from Grant. We got 3 callers on the lines right now, so let's get these callers handled. Who do we got? JD in LA. JD in LA, what's happening?
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging on, man. I appreciate you calling into the show. What's your question?
Yeah, so my question is, how can I take my game to the next level? So I'm trying to close an investment banker, and I'm trying to close a managing partner at a law firm. So pretty much what's going on, they said, JD, you're relentless. Stop bugging me. Let me make it clear that I want you to stay away from me, right? So pretty much what I've been doing the Instagram, the Facebook, the marketing, farmers market, going in person, email marketing. All my stuff is sick as hell, right? So pretty much I'm the runaway slave trying to get my freedom. Yep. So what I do is personal training and health consulting. So I've been shooting for the big dogs, right, who do the CEO of real estate firms, Angle & Volkers, Rothschild, law firm. And so I'm trying to figure out, how can I step my game up to the next level? I'm up at 6 every day. I go to bed at like 12, 1 a.m. So I have everything online at jdroyalsolution.com. It has my LinkedIn. And so I pretty much started off this in February this year right here. And so I'm trying to figure out how the hell do I close a C-level suite, and how can I work on closing some of the more middle-class people, because there's more. I've learned that. So
well, look, let me just stop you right there. Like, I heard everything that you said, but I'm still hung up on one thing. And it's probably the one thing that's holding you back more than anything.
Okay.
You said, I'm trying to close a deal right now with an investment banker and somebody who runs a law firm. Is that right?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that I'm working on my skills to improve my abilities with closing top players, C-level suite. And so these people have told me that I'm relentless, and they were like, yo, look, just back off for a little bit, man. You're doing a whole lot.
Yeah. So I'll just tell you this. The thing that I hung on to and the thing that I moved right to is you said, I'm trying to close a deal right now with an investment banker and a law firm. And I didn't hear you go with an investment banker, with a law firm, with the CEO of a solar company, with the president of a construction company, with 385 other executives in my field. I didn't hear you say that, so I just assumed that you may be hanging on too tight to one deal because you're not willing to go out and fill your pipeline with somebody else. So anytime you get this attachment to one deal, and I'm not saying that's totally the case, but I think it's a very valid point to make that will help the people watching, is if you get hung into one deal, it is because you are not willing to confront the fact that you need to go out and fill your pipeline with 5,000 prospects rather than one. One person removing themselves from the game. If you're doing everything right, now I'm not saying that a person says no and you move on. If you're doing everything right, which I'm going to assume you are, and somebody says no, it should be like checking somebody off the list. Okay, they're good, they're done, I can move on. Like that helps me because I can go pour energy into somebody else. Do you quit the follow-up? No. Does it pull back so that you can go hammer time on somebody else? Probably. But I would keep coming back to that guy. You got this guy's attention, man.
Hell yeah.
You just need to keep kind of refreshing your pitch and coming with something new. Like the only reason why somebody would ever call up and be like upset about the level of follow-up that our team delivers is because they lost professionalism, they lost creativity, which typically means they lost commitment. They started getting sloppy.
Okay, let me give you a true story.
Okay.
So I pulled on to his building. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard in like heart of the city, right, heart of LA. And so I was trying to get in. They're like, "Hey, do you have an appointment?" I was like, "Yeah, I got an appointment, right?" And they called up like, "Hold on, let me see your ID." So they're like, "Hold on, who is this guy? You know, this young kid coming in. What is he, like 21, 22? This black kid, his hair's twisted up and all that. Like, who the hell is this kid, right?" And they call him. They're like, "Yo, do you know who this guy is?" He's like, "Nah, don't let him in, don't let him in." But in terms of the pipeline, so I try to meet at least 20 contacts a week. How do I do that? I go to the farmer's market.
Yeah, dude, time out. 20 per week is your problem. Dude, like if my guys don't touch 200 people in a day, they stay until they touch 200 people. If 200 people a day, not 20 a week.
So 200 people, new people a day. I want to get.
Yeah, bro. Like you are thinking so small, dude. Like you're thinking with like how do I guess the right lottery numbers with one ticket?
Okay.
Like you need to go like massive in your outflow, like massive, like 20 a day. 20 a week is a joke. 20 a day, truthfully, is a joke.
Okay.
So if y'all are listening to this and you're thinking that, oh man, I'm crushing it because I made 40 phone calls today, you ain't doing shit. Like you ain't doing nothing. Like the level of this goes back to massive action, dude. You got to get to the point where you're such a maniac with activity that like adding things into your day becomes a problem for you. Like you need to operate like in a car. You know how they have the red line and you get that tachometer and it's all the way up at the red line before it shifts. It goes and then it drops down. Dude, you need to peg that thing at the red line and keep it there from 6 in the morning until 6 at night. Like you need to operate at full capacity all day. Most people can't even fathom this type of activity. That is what massive action means. Massive action doesn't mean I feel like I work today. Massive action means Dude, I have to say no to stuff because I literally can't add it in. I can't take the phone call because I'm in something else. And if I come off of that, then I'm not going to be able to do that next thing. And then everything is going to be off schedule the rest of the day. The think has to change so much, man. 20 a week, 200 a day try. And then you might get somewhere. So let's go to the next caller.
All right, you got Perry Jackson in New York.
Perry Jackson in New York.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, brother? Thanks for calling the show.
Thank you, sir. I'm a long-time caller.
Love it.
Time in, so
Love
I appreciate it.
Love it, man. That's what perseverance, persistence, and follow-up will get you.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, I'll tell you one thing. I've always been chasing a star because, you know, you can't physically touch it, but if you chase it, sooner or later, you actually become one.
Yeah, there you go.
I've learned that. But the main reason I wanted to put a call in, and it wasn't really a question. First off, let's be real. You wouldn't. There's plenty of other people that could sit in that chair right now today, and where you're at on TV right now. So we know that you deserve what you've gotten, and that's why you're in that seat. So that's be real about that. Number one. Number two, when it comes to having the right person to follow, you know, you couldn't have chosen anyone better than Grant because, you know, he started from the bottom, started from nowhere. In fact, I know for sure that he's had way more no's than he's had yes in his lifetime. But if he had all those yeses, could you imagine where he would even be today? So it's not the struggle, it's the fight in the struggle that keeps you going. So I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you for that, PJ. Perry.
So you and I have been connected on LinkedIn ever since September 19th of 2017 when I put out a request to have you connected to me. I appreciated that. So
Cool,
I don't know
man.
if you know that or not, but since September 19th, 2017.
I mean, I didn't know the date, but...
Well, I'll tell you this, and I'll end this call with this, and I appreciate it. I have done everything possible to get through to get in contact with yourself and Grant because I want you to Sharks. So tell me what I have to do live on this discussion right now today in front of everybody. I mean, in order to hustle, you have to know what you're doing. You got to be right. That's just the bottom line. You have to be right with everything you do. My industry is a little different than what you guys do, but it's the same concept. And so I'm asking you today, right now, as an eyewitness, with all these eyewitnesses listening, what do I need to do to have a phone conversation with yourself and Grant together to have you guys serve as Sharks? You tell me.
As Sharks for what?
For my company.
So what you want to? Are you looking for money or what are you looking for?
Well, I'll tell you straight up. I don't really need money. I do need the capital though for only one reason. I'm competing against Scientific Games, all these big, huge guys that have table games that presented on casino floors. And, you know, the reason they have the capital is because, you know, they've had contacts. My table game is the first one to ever do what it's going to be able to do. So my following has grown very quickly in a very short period of time, but I wanted the right team. I already have a business partner, but I want you to. So I have something I can send to you. You guys can review it, but I want to verbally just sit and talk with you guys for 10 minutes on the phone and see if we can put something together.
So like this is a great example.
Perfect.
Like so this is why a pipeline is important. Because Perry, if I told you that you were the first person that ever reached out with a request like that, I mean maybe the first one today. I mean like literally we probably get 25 or 30 people a day that have an idea, they want a partner, they want a pitch, they want all this stuff. The importance of a pipeline is because, like, at the end of the day, not every prospect you reach out to is going to do a deal with you. You can have the expectation that you're going to close a deal, you can have the intention that you're going to close a deal, but, like, at the end of the day, the best salespeople maybe close true traffic. They probably close 10 to 20% of the deals that they actually present to, which means that they've got to present to a lot of people. They've got to get a lot of appointments to get a lot of people to a presentation, and they got to make a ton of phone calls to get enough appointments to actually show up and do a demo. So, like, I don't know what your deal is. You can send me some information. If you send me a link through LinkedIn on a message, I'll take a look at it. But like, I know Grant. Like, the amount of time and energy that he spends pouring into his own businesses, like, he doesn't hardly have time for the stuff that he has that's his own. So him adding somebody else's stuff into it, like it's probably not even real. But that doesn't mean he may not take a look. You just got to, hey, send a package, send a message, call Katie, send something to the office, send lunch, do something to get somebody's attention. But at the end of the day, you got to know, like, like if you're looking for an investor or somebody to sit on the board of a board game company or a casino game deal, Grant's probably not the right guy for it. He could be. You could keep following up and sending it, but dude, like he's trying to build a multi-billion-dollar real estate portfolio. We have a massive business here. He's traveling all over the place trying to grow his brand around the world. Like sitting on the board of a technology company maybe isn't his first priority, particularly one that isn't really well established. I'm just being real, right? You're trying to get something started and you're trying to, hey, here's a percentage of my company. Like people will literally do that. They call up, they're like, hey, I want to give you 20% of my company, so if you could just help me and mentor me and give me advice. I don't even know one that we've said yes to, like, because we got our eye on the ball where we're at and we're so focused on it that adding something new, it just might not be real. This goes back to JD's deal. This goes back to JD, the guy that just called. Hey, I'm working a deal with an investment banker and a CEO of a law firm. And who else? Who are the other 380 prospects that you have in your pipeline for this week? Like, you got to expand the net, right? Like, you got to start thinking, come up with a list of 250 guys like Grant. Not one. People rely on one thing. Like, that's the best advice. If you guys ever want to do anything with Grant, the best advice I can give you, you're looking for partnership, you're looking for mentorship, you're looking for, dude, if you're looking for that, you got to have a list of 250 grants, not one. Like, if you rely on one of anything and you will come up short 99% of the time, you're going to fail. Because you're putting so much reliance on so little. And you're just never going to get off the ground. Because you're going to chase that one thing down and, maybe Grant has, like I'll give you a great example. Grant tried to do a deal that was outside of his thing 10 or 15 years ago, got burnt for millions of dollars, had to go through all these nasty court, legal, suing, lawsuits, all this bullshit, right? He's like, dude, I learned my lesson. Keep my eye on my own ball, handle my own business, focus on my own thing, and I'm going to be okay. So, like, that's existing data that a prospect may have that's they're operating with, and you're never going to get a deal from them. And guess what? If that's your only prospect, you're never going to get a deal. So, like, this game is about a big net. It's about a massive pipeline. It's about being able to understand who is closable and who is not. Who's the decision maker, who is not. When is money an issue, and when are they just shopping? How do you go out and make money and be successful? And what are the things you're going to do that are going to kill your shot at being successful? How do you become a millionaire? And what are the things that will guarantee that you never become a millionaire? Dude, money's important. Number one question that we get, how do I become a millionaire? How do I become more successful? So Grant's going to do a live training. Go to grantcardone.com/millions. And you can get access to it. I think we only have room for 1,000 people. When it's filled up, it's filled up. You're going to have to be there live. We're not going to re-record it. We're not going to replay it. So it's not one of those things you can buy and then not show up for and watch after the fact. You've got to be there. This is material that's going to be delivered live. It's going to be in the studio. We're going to have like a badass presentation for you on how you can become a millionaire. Basically how I became a millionaire, and basically how Grant became a millionaire. All we're doing is transferring steps. We're just transferring information. It works. I'm proof. Grant's proof. You can be proof too. grantcardone.com/millions. Get registered now. You better be there if you're serious about money. grantcardone.com/millions to register. Look, this is Young Hustlers. Every week we come here, we give you information, we give you tactical skills that you can use to go out and improve your income, your ability to produce. And we're here every week. If you're listening on the podcast, please rate it, review it, share it, subscribe to it. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the feedbacks. We appreciate you for listening, for trusting and thinking enough in us to take time out of your week to spend an hour or so here learning to improve yourself. I can't tell you how amazing that feels to know that people are out there and they're interested in doing better. and they're taking our information and actually doing well with it. So I appreciate you guys being here. Remember, the only people that condemn the hustle and they condemn your success and they try to slow you down and they try to squash you, the only people that try to do that to you are the people that have already given up on success themselves. Stay away from them. We'll see you right back next week. Young Hustlers.
I've invested in myself and other programs and mentors in the past, and there's nothing quite like this experience.
So I went from $0 to $230,000 in 6 short weeks.
We actually set a goal to increase our sales by $60,000 in a month, and we did that in a week and a half with the help of the university.
Don't think about it, do it, and you're gonna be blown away.